Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Give Me God of War walkthrough. This is an ice troll boss by the name of Jarn Fotr, and I probably murdered that. Not too sure what it could mean. I think it's something like Ice Foot. That could be something that's quite relevant to this mister, but it's probably not. Anyhow, strategy is simple again, guys. We're going to be baiting his attacks, and we're going to be punishing them with the Executioner's Cleave. And if he taunts, we're going to be doing the Executioner's Cleave again, because it's a free hit. And I have no idea why they let you hit him so hard during a taunt without him doing something. But here is his foot stomp. Whenever you see that, just run around him, and then proceed to whack him with your axe. The only difficult part of this fight is that because these bosses are so simple, they give you enemies while you fight them. And these enemies are the type that explode when you get close to them. So you want to be chucking your axe to stop that, and you want to be using Atreus as much as possible. The upside to this strategical nightmare is that if you use the explosions of those enemies when the boss is near them, one would think it would do more damage to him, right? But I've never really managed to make it an effective strategy, but I would imagine it does that. Couple of things to note. When he slams the ground like this, it does 3 projectiles. Each of them is a trail of icicles, and they will spread out in like a bird's foot pattern. There will be one in the middle, going straight. There will be diagonal ones spreading out from the middle, going left and right. So if you stand in between it, it will never hit you. It's quite easy to dodge, but you need to be aware. Do you see that mass of rocks and wood that enemy that I'm staring at? This thing I'm running around right now, the thing that I've got my back to? Those icicles go through it. So if the boss is on the other side of them, and you're around the corner thinking you're safe, like we do with the ancients and such, those icicles will go through the geometry and still hit you. It's happened to me. The only time I've taken damage against this boss is from bullshit like that. And I have no idea why it does it, because just then, it didn't go through it. But I have video proof of this happening, so I need to warn you because you need to be careful. But I'm just going to kite the boss while we get rid of his buddies, and if you can, you want to stand in line with the enemies, because when the troll does the stomp, the middle line will almost always be on your parallel, and if you're stood with the enemy, he'll hit the enemy and it'll do big damage, just like that. And then it gives him a big frost, and then we can go in and beat him up a little bit. You can be way more aggressive than I'm being here, guys. It's just taking damage off the scrubs and having to start the boss fight again is something that I really didn't want to do. So you'll notice that I'm not exactly being the most aggressive on the Draugrs. You can, though. And once again, they have this ability, which you just witnessed then, where they raise the sword above their heads. There's a big red notification telling you don't even bother trying to parry it or block it. And it will do a trail of lava or flames of some kind of immolation across the ground. Do not be there when it reaches you, is all I will say. And it's easy to dodge because it's very slow and it's very telegraphed, and it never puts you in a situation where it becomes anything more than it is. You just need to be aware that they will always prioritise you with it. And the only downside to having Atreus at times is that an enemy can start an attack on him, and then it can turn and start hitting you. And you can assume it's going to keep beating him up, and then it just turns around and smacks you. And the amount of times I've been hit by shit like that winds me up something fierce. There's only one part of the design which I think needs tweaking more than that, and that's the grace period coming out of invincible animations. For some reason, this game affords you no luxury coming out of animations, and the way the enemies sync up their attacks so that they hit you the frame you're vulnerable is 100% fighting game AI bullshit, and it leads to really miserable encounters for no good reason. And the only way to stop it is to activate Rage of the Spartans, but the problem is, I don't want to do that, you know, I'm intentionally not using that mode. Because if you're having trouble with the game, and you can't do it for some reason, you can use that and it will help you get through. But if I give you a strategy that immediately activate Rage of the Spartan and then win, it's not a strategy, is it? Because it's relying on a resource you might not have. So just saying activate the Spartan Rage for iframes is easy to say, and it's good to know, but it's one of those things that you should never really be relying on too much unless you think it looks cool, because it's kind of like activating Devil Trigger in Devil May Cry 4. But thank you for watching, and you take care now.